Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Royal Rumble post show. I'm Bobby Munson, and joining me on the panel here tonight, beside me, the wonderful, talented Ella J. How are you doing, Ella? Thanks for joining.
I'm tired, but I'm fantastic, Bobby. How are you?
I'm doing great. Tired as well, though, but we made it, and here we are. And below us right there, Ed is in the house. How are you doing there, Ed? Thanks for joining
Doing
in.
good. I wanted to round out my birthday week with my favorite pay-per-view of the year because it takes place on my birthday week every year, Royal Rumble.
Perfect timing, perfect time. We say hello in the chat to Bobby Stats joining us there. Said he got goosebumps when Jordan Grace showed up in the Royal Rumble. So let's just cut through the fan, get right to it. Let's talk about that Women's Royal Rumble. And I'm going to start over on your side there, Ella. Let us know what you thought of everything at the Women's Royal Rumble kicking off this show.
You know, I think the second half of it was really, really strong. I was surprised by some of the early eliminations, like Asuka and Kairi. I'm not sure if that Kairi spot was intended or not when she got caught and then got dropped. But overall, like the second half really picked it up for me. You know, like once Becky Lynch got in there, a Jade Cargill. I'm so sorry for my camera right now. But like Jade Cargill in her, debut did fantastic. Liv Morgan coming back. That is not the final three I would have envisioned necessarily. I thought Bayley was going to get taken out by Damage Control, but well-deserved win for Bayley after, bringing up Damage Control. And now we think she might challenge Rhea, but I think there might be a swerve headed there for her decision.
Could be. Ed, your thoughts on the Women's Royal Rumble match?
Let's talk about TNA. We get rid of Vince McMahon, and TNA is in the Rumble, not once, but technically twice, because Trinity still technically isn't signed, but by all accounts, the way Michael Cole's first words out of her mouth is, she's back. They were very quick.
Mm-hmm.
She's got merch, and they were very quick to say she's back, as opposed to definitively saying that Jordan Grace is a TNA talent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think she's back, and Jordan Grace isn't here. But my God, Jordan Grace putting on a fantastic show. And thank you, WWE, this time for keeping the TNA Knockouts champion looking strong on their way out of the Rumble this year. They learned from a couple years ago. She didn't get any eliminations, but it took a finisher from Bianca Belair to put her out.
Yeah, she had some moments with Bianca. They were doing the vertical suplexes in the ring, I think it was. Jordan did amazing. I'm curious to know how, are we going to get more TNA and WWE partnership, or is this kind of a special Rumble appearance thing now every other year? I don't know.
So, interesting to note, I was on the old Twitter machine after the show. Jordan Grace did tweet out, "Thank you, WWE Universe. Keep watching. This isn't the last you've heard of TNA wrestling."
Interesting.
So you're telling me that there's a chance to get my dream match, Ed, is what you're telling me?
Jordan Grace versus Charlotte Flair?
Mickie James versus Charlotte Flair.
I mean, if Mickie James is technically signed to TNA, because now
she could resign.
She could sign with WWE and make that match happen.
That's true.
Let's talk about Jade Cargill for a second, because that was an explosive entry into the Royal Rumble, and they did a great, fantastic job of putting Jade over, and her taking Nia Jax like she did and eliminating Nia Jax. This was a phenomenal look for Jade's debut.
I mean, I had her winning, but if she wasn't going to win, that was the showing that she needed in her. And I mean, not that I expected anything less. She's strong. She had that spot with Nia Jax. She had that stare down with Bianca Belair, which I think, man, if they think Jade is ready, I think Jade and Bianca would be a great non-title match to go after for WrestleMania. We haven't had a single women's non-title match at WrestleMania in a long time. So I think that would be a program worth investing in. Final Six, Tiffany Stratton making Final Six too. That was a big thing. Granted, she did come in at 29. I'm surprised that there weren't any legends in either Rumble, really.
Zero legends.
Yeah.
Rumbles, unless you count Paca McAfee as a legend.
No, I don't. I thought, I mean, we'll get to the men's later. But yeah, I was very happy to see Naomi. I think if she wasn't going to win, she absolutely deserved to get one of the. I mean, her and Bailey now beat Rhea's record. They were the Iron Women. I think if Naomi wasn't going to win an Iron Woman spot, one of them was definitely fitting for her.
Very much so. I'll go to the chat here for a moment because Jose Gonzalez, Jose on the air, go check him out. It's coming in with Jordan looked great. I did appreciate Mickey took Lita's DDT for elimination with the history.
Mhm.
I'm excited at the prospect of someone WWE showing up on Impact now as well too. And then technically the last women's non-title singles Mania was Tori Wilson versus Candice Bell. At WrestleMania 22. Wow, that's
18 years ago. That's what I'm saying. It's been a long time. I feel like there's enough women and stories now that we could get a non-title singles women's match at Mania this year.
Yeah. And of course, being the NXT guy right there, Tiffany Stratton. And NXT got some great representation tonight overall.
Tiffany and Roxanne.
I would say 4 representatives for NXT over the course of the entire show. I was shocked at how little the numbers are, but I was so impressed with how well they were portrayed in this Rumble. When we get to the men's, we'll talk about that. But the women here, Roxanne had a nice pop, had a good run in there for a little bit. Tiffany Stratton being given that opportunity. Everybody on the female side was talking about wanting to wrestle Tiffany Stratton.
Yeah.
I know I've seen all of Astrid's interviews. In both women that all three women that Astrid interviewed, all said that they wanted to work with Tiffany Stratton in this Rumble. The fact that she made it to Final 5, just fantastic.
Also, can we just go ahead? Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, there are 3 images I just want to put up.
Okay.
I've loaded them in here. Just single images that tell a story of this Rumble. Jade and Bianca.
Yeah.
With the WrestleMania sign in the background of the shot. After Bailey wins, the shot of the Final 5 with all 4 just staring at her. And then Bailey finally getting that moment. That tells the story of this Rumble in 3 shots. That's what they did. This year's Women's Royal Rumble was picture perfect from beginning to end. It is the first ever 5-star Royal Rumble. It won't get 5 stars because it's a women's match and Meltzer won't do it. But it's a 5-star Rumble. They could not have done anything better in that match than what they did.
If it's 5 stars on this show, then don't worry about what Meltzer says. It's a 5-star Rumble. It's Sunday already. Yes, it is, Omad, for most around the world. And hello to you too. Thanks for joining us this late into the evening. So, but yeah, I think we can all agree how amazing of a start to the show this was. And we got 2 matches to go through before we get to that men's Royal Rumble. So let's talk about that WWE Undisputed Universal Championship match. We got the champion Roman Reigns defending against AJ Styles, LA Knight, and Randy Orton. And I got to say, like we were mentioning before, this a lot shorter than we would expect. It did have some of the usual Roman Reigns shenanigans that we would come to expect from this type of match as well, too. Well, one thing I did note, there was a lot of showing off that they have got some star power as of right now, because all 4 of these guys, this didn't feel like a fatal 4-way where you had 2 people entangled in a story that are stars and 2 people that you want to piggyback off that. This felt like 4 actual stars that deserve to be in that main event, have reasons for it, and they told a decent enough story. It was probably my least favorite match of the entire card overall, but it was serviceable at the same time.
I mean, it's hard to say least favorite match on this card because all of these matches are really good. And by the way, 4-hour show, 4 matches. Like, can we just talk about how much time everything got to do exactly what it needed to do? Stories were told, and people constantly look at people and go, WWE can't tell good stories. WWE can't. Yes, they can. Tonight they proved it. Yeah. Like Bobby said with this fatal 4-way, you have 3 individual stories with Roman Reigns that all tied into one that made perfect sense for everything that happened. Every beat of this match worked within the stories that have been told for the last 8 months.
The Royal Rumble was awesome, but Solo, I mean, that was also expected, but still, I'm still not gonna not get mad at it, It's a little bit tiresome at this point. I get it at the pay-per-views, but it's also something that we've had week after week after week on SmackDown. We've had so many disqualification finishes. It's just rinse and repeat the same thing. So I mean, I don't know, but the match itself, yeah, I mean, it's crazy to say that I think it was a 22 to 24 minute match is a short match, but for Roman Reigns it is. Yeah. It was a little bit shorter than I was expecting. It felt a little bit slower paced to me. There was some obvious spots like Randy hitting that RKO on Roman while Roman was trying to do a spear, I think it was. I mean, that was cool. LA Knight doing his BFT. The ending felt a little bit abrupt, and it might have something to do with I don't think AJ meant to slip there at the end. That might have had something to do with it. But the ending felt a little bit abrupt to me. So I obviously wanted Randy to win. That didn't happen. Roman winning was kind of expected, though. I mean, and then we got the stare off with him and Cody at the end there. Does Roman do anything for Chamber, though? Is my question.
No. I mean, at this point, when you've got a title run that is that long, and people complain about him not defending, the thing is that they're saving him for the big moments now. They can't jeopardize this title run ending on a case of a torn ACL due to wrestling on Friday Night SmackDown or something of those thoughts. They need the big moment to happen at WrestleMania if it's going to
The only thing I can see happening at Chamber for him is Rock. If they do Rock Roman non-title, just Rock Roman for the tribal chiefdom. Yeah. I could see that because
I think Rock would have shown up tonight though and done something.
Yeah. He knows.
You would
better.
think?
Yeah.
I mean, but if Rock shows up tonight to do something with Roman, then that means that your story, you're kind of leading the story to Cody Rhodes. And I think the ability to have 3 viable winners for the Rumble in the final 3, and you could easily see it going any of the 3 ways. Mm-hmm. They kind of had to not have Rock here, because if Rock shows up and Rock bottoms Roman after he wins, then you're kind of signaling what Rock's doing, what Roman's doing going forward.
Yeah. I feel like they kind of did that though, because there was a shot of Roman retaining and then Cody coming out of his bus. They foreshadowed it in the show.
True.
I should have known it then, but it's I was thinking there might be, a little twist. Maybe it's not as obvious. But yeah, man, Roman is going to have to show up because to do promos and stuff. Or are they just going to do this whole time and just have Paul and Cody again? We've already had this, but they need to come up. We've had this story before last year. My question is, what are they going to do different this year?
Nothing.
No. Yeah.
Same as the first.
Which is why, though, Rock brings something different.
Twice in a lifetime.
Yeah.
Rinse and repeat. Twice in a lifetime.
Well, I mean, they really dragged the story out and gave Cody that big win.
My question is, though, what the heck do you do with Randy Orton now for WrestleMania? What the heck do you do?
Nothing.
I've been wrong. I thought Cody and Randy would have been a great story. I'm not mad at Cody winning, not at all. But since we'll get to it, but Cody winning, can we curse on here?
Oh, go for it.
Cody winning, Cody needs to fucking finish the story this year, or else it just looks Cody like it. Then they wasted 2 Rumble wins in a row.
Yeah.
Cody has to fucking win at WrestleMania. So
I put it in the group chat today. As soon as Cody won, I'm like, finish the fucking story.
Yeah, he fucking has to, or else those 2 Rumble wins don't matter at that point, Yeah. My question is though, what the heck do you do with Randy Orton now? Because Roman's gonna be wrapped up for Mania now. What the frick do you do with Randy Orton? I don't know.
I think Randy goes into Chamber, and I is there a six-person
Punk
Chamber
has
match
to
that's
win
happening?
Chamber now. I had Punk winning Rumble, Cody winning Chamber. You can just flip it. You don't not have CM Punk going after the other title. So what the frick do you do with Randy Orton then? That is my question. I have no idea now.
Yeah.
Well,
At Chamber,
I mean,
I think it has to be Punk, Drew,
Maybe
and Punk, Drew, Randy, like, and then pick three more: AJ, LA Knight, and somebody else to go inside the Chamber to face Seth. Gunther. Put Gunther in the Chamber with them to face Seth.
Gunther and Randy would be something.
that would be.
Gunther
It
and
really
Randy would
would.
be something.
Gunther has nothing to do now that a certain large individual is probably unavailable for
Yeah,
WrestleMania.
I thought because of certain individual that maybe we might get a Big E or a Braun Strowman, not Braun Breaker, by the way. But neither of them showed up, so maybe a Randy Orton Gunther is an option to explore.
It would work. I'd be down for that.
Yep.
Just see Randy lose at Mania against Gunther. I'd be okay with that.
I don't know. What do you do with him then, though? Genuinely, because the other big players, I think it's going to be LA Knight and Logan Paul probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. AJ's probably going to have some. I don't know, something. Who else is a top heel on SmackDown? Nobody, unless it just is straight up Solo Sikoa. But I don't. They've been
I think Solo's got somebody else.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I mean, they did kind of set it in place, like Bobby was mentioning. They could go Solo and Randy at Mania,
it is
but
possible. Do they trust Solo enough early to do a singles match at Mania? I don't know.
I mean, they gave him John Cena in Saudi, so I don't see any reason why they don't.
I don't know.
They gave Omos a singles match at Mania last year.
Shit, that's true, Bobby.
Omos Brock was at Mania last year.
Shit, yeah, that's true. We'll see. I'm just if it's somebody other than Solo. Oh, I just got a text about the press conference. We'll talk about that later. Because we're missing that right now. Gosh.
All right.
Ed's putting it on right now, so you just
No, I have it in the background. TDP's in the press conference. CVV. Nice. All right, anyways.
But let's talk about the US title match, because we mentioned about LA Knight and the potential of going up against Logan Paul. Mm-hmm. What a match this was. I gotta give all the credit in the world. I know, Ed, you mentioned in our chat about, is Logan Paul the greatest non-wrestler of all time? And I gotta say, I would agree with that argument. Logan Paul has absorbed professional wrestling in a way that most don't. And despite what people might think of him, he has taken very well to being the chicken shit heel that he is, and does so perfectly. He's got that slappable face, but he has the right look and the right ability inside that ring to make it work. And that was proof tonight. This one-on-one matchup with Kevin Owens was a solid U.S. title matchup.
You could say in his first match that he got carried. You could start to claim that maybe Roman carried him in that match in Saudi. At this point now, it's undeniable that this kid is putting in the work. Even if it's little bits of time, he's putting in enough work to make all of these things money matches. And this finish was so perfectly done, because it all goes back to other things. It's more perfect storytelling on this show. You have the guy who jumps, what's his name? Jeff, I think they said his name like 60,000 times. Yeah. The co-host on Impulsive. He jumped the barricade to try to put the knuckles down like he did in Saudi. But the ref saw him and was like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So you bring out Grayson Waller, you bring out, Austin Theory to go ahead and do the spot, to do the handoff. And I don't know if anybody else caught it, but there's a spot where Grayson walks over, sees him, grabs the knucks, walks back over to Theory, passes them to Theory. But the perfect thing here is that Kevin Owens knows it's coming. He's planned for this. So he stops the knucks. He grabs the knucks and uses them himself. But because he doesn't cheat anymore, he forgets to put them away and gets caught. And how often would he have that hand He specifically had to use his
Yeah.
offhand
Yeah.
to have on the hot hand for the cover to make sure the ref can see it. Like, there are so many little itty-bitty things in this finish that make it picture perfect.
Yeah.
And yes, it sucks that this match ends on a DQ like that. But the fact that it's all storytelling back to how Logan Paul does his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's storytelling with these heels that are working with Kevin Owens. It's been fantastic.
It also protects Kevin Owens because I didn't think there was any chance. I thought there was going to be some screwy finish anyway. I don't see any world where Logan Paul pins Kevin Owens cleanly. So I was expecting some, like shenanigans or whatever. But this, I mean, the disqualification ending, I think makes sense. It protects Kevin Owens. He didn't lose cleanly, whatever. And it's a little flip of the script, it's not just Logan getting disqualified or, it's a little flip of the script. And it shows that the referee, for once, is low-key paying attention.
Pays attention when the baby face is in that situation. But, I mean, it was a beautiful touch because, again, it protects both individuals here. And it's the unexpected way. You would expect Logan Paul to get disqualified and get away with, losing, but also keeping his belt. But in this case, he actually takes the victory, which I thought was just excellent. This was so well done, so unexpected, and it to a degree. Again, you expect that dusty finish, as they call it, but it worked. It worked so well. So kudos to this matchup. Anything else on this one, or should we go right to the main event? Main event it is? Okay. All right.
Let's power through this, man.
Let's power through it. Okay, Ella, your thoughts on the men's Royal Rumble match, your favorite moments and everything in this one.
Again, I mean, Jimmy and Jay starting off was perfect. It was cool Andrade coming back, but I think it started really picking up once Cody entered at 15. The second half of it was where a lot of the heavy hitters came in, Cody, Drew, CM Punk, Gunther, a lot of those people. So I think the beginning, again, it's kind of like the women's Rumble. The beginning was good. The middle was the middle third was a little meh, and then it picked up in the second half, man, it sounds weird to say, but I was not fully expecting Cody to go back to back. I was fully convinced that it was Punk, but I'm not mad at Cody winning. That also makes sense in my mind. What a final four too, Drew, Gunther, Cody, and Punk. I'm surprised that we didn't get any legends, also that Pat McAfee spot. We could have had Wade Barrett. I'm a little bit. We could have done something with Wade Barrett, or I predicted Pat McAfee might be in it. I think that he could have done actually something, Braun Breaker had a great showing in there, eliminating people. Omos, obviously they had that spot. There was some good spots in there, but it really picked up in the second half. And then the final four was fantastic, I do think though that Cody just I feel like they could have had a little bit of a better final elimination because I feel like Cody just threw Punk out. It wasn't anything dramatic. But now the lines are clear. Cody Rhodes is going after Roman Reigns, and he better fucking finish the story, or else these two Rumble wins are pointless.
Yeah, 100% agree with everything you said there. It's got to happen. It's got to happen this time around. If you're going to go with it, then go with it. I did start to wonder with how many times they kept stressing that nobody has gone back-to-back Royal Rumble since Steve Austin 26 years ago. I started to go, I think Cody's got this. I'm pretty sure Cody's got this at this point. Mm-hmm. But they did leave that element of not sure, especially Gunther was there in the final four, and the rumor had been there was a possibility of Gunther winning this thing, and I wouldn't have been surprised. It as Ed wonderfully said, there's all three of the expected winners of the Royal Rumble, and Drew left in the matchup.
Yeah.
Because I think there was a world where you could have, with the Seth injury, flipped everything to make stories work, and you can do Seth Gunther at Mania with Gunther winning the championship, with Gunther winning the championship after winning the Rumble. with him eliminating both Cody and Punk, who were trying to eliminate each other, and then Gunther just pops them both. I think you then have a built-in story to do Punk versus Cody at Mania, and then have Rock do Roman at Mania, and you can get all 3 big stories in, and you can save Punk versus Rollins for when you know he's healthy. Because again, the only thing I feel for in this one is I don't want Punk versus Rollins if Rollins can't go at full speed, because Punk's going to need Rollins at his best in order to make that match is what they wanted. Otherwise, you're wasting it.
In that case, then, since Cody's tied up, Punk and Drew, I've been saying that the backup for me, the backup option, if it's not Punk and Rollins, Punk and Drew is right there. So
and they made sure to make a big deal of it tonight.
Yeah, but then again, that leads the question, Gunther. I think there's multiple options, but I think if a Big E was going to come back, he would have come back tonight. I think since it might not be Gunther and Brock anymore. Gunther and a Braun or Gunther and a Randy, or hell, Gunther and a Jey Uso. Jay's wanting to be a singles competitor, let him prove himself. There's a couple stories you can do there, but yeah, I mean, if Rollins isn't cleared, then like Punk and Drew, I think, is a story you can visit for Mania.
Can we all agree that Gunther's got to be in the match at Berlin, right? Bash at Berlin.
Oh,
has
yeah.
to be Gunther
That's in August. Yeah.
Like, so we know we're building to Gunther as champion in August. So that's why I keep leaning to Gunther.
But which
Rollins.
Championship?
WWE. You don't main event that show with the IC title. You main event that one with the World Heavyweight Championship.
Okay.
In my mind.
Okay.
A couple of things I wanted to point out that again, I'm not gonna take credit for. I'm gonna take it from the old Twitter machine. Both Jimmy and Naomi entering at number 2. Nice little synergy there. Yeah. Jimmy and Jay coming out 1 and 2. As a comic book fan like me, the whole Miles Morales of it all from Into the Spider-Verse, the 2 different Miles Morales, you get the 2 Usos in different universes. One yeet, one no yeet. And can we talk about how great Jimmy Uso was in this Rumble? Dominic Mysterio was in this Rumble. R-Truth, the legendary treasure that needs to be protected, was so fantastic. Him trying to enter the Women's Rumble. By the way, asking Adam Pearce, all those are women? Yeah. Oh my God, I fucking almost lost it on my chair when I heard him say that.
Yeah. Or getting going for the tag. That was a nice moment in the Men's Rumble.
That was a fantastic spot. And Dominic playing along and doing the hot tag spot with him. Fantastic.
The only thing that sucked with that, I had a Women's Royal Rumble pool. I had number 24. Both R-Truth and Valhalla got eliminated within seconds. Like, are you kidding me?
Oh no.
You even had 2 cracks at it in the women's pool.
Did, and
But one of the things I wanted to talk about on NXT, on Taking Over, when we talk about NXT, we talk about authenticity. We talk about representation. This Rumble, this Men's Rumble, the first 10 of this Rumble was about representation. You had at one point Dominic Mysterio, Santos Escobar, Carlito, Carmelo Hayes, Andrade, all in the Rumble at the same time. Not to mention, if you want to continue adding to that, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, you also can continue and add to that and go at one point, the only Caucasian person in the entire Rumble was Karrion fucking Kross.
Yeah.
Like,
actually, he's not. I learned that he's Hispanic.
Is he? Okay, there you go.
But at that point, Grayson Waller was the only one because he was Australian.
Yeah,
that's true. So great.
But he was 3.
I think Mello had gotten him out at that point.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
But I'm just like, good on WWE representation, right? Like, they gave, granted, a lot of them didn't get super far, but I love the idea that they gave these guys the opportunity in this climate to go ahead and make sure that there was a bunch of representation. The Los Ingobernables the Spanish version of Los Ingobernables from CMLL, when you had Santos trying to do the fist bump thing with Andrade, and Andrade's like, no, I don't do that no more. That's done. I love this Rumble. I was talking to somebody in a Discord during this Rumble, and they were like, I'm disappointed in this Rumble. And I'm like, no, you need to understand here. We had 60 Rumble entrants. We had a minimal amount of surprises with really only Trinity, Andrade, and Jordan Grace as surprises in these Rumbles.
Yeah.
And they put on 2 fantastically told storyline Rumbles, while the men's lacked severely compared to the women's match. And by the way, I guarantee TJ Wilson put together that women's Rumble. I'm going to go out there right now and just guarantee it, because it had his fingerprints all over it. Cody winning is fine. Like Ella said, he has to finish the story, because you can't agreed. You can't fucking waste 2 years of Rumbles and have Cody Rhodes just not do anything.
But I'm so doubtful. Like, I was so confident last year. There's also part of me that's like, they're gonna extend this until September just so Roman can beat Hogan. Unfortunately, I can see that happening, them dragging it out that far.
Unless Hogan walked in today and squashed the whole
I
thing.
mean,
He's like, no,
I was scared that was going to happen, to be honest.
Yeah.
That
30th Rumble spot, I was like, all right, is it Rock? Is it Sheamus? And then I forget even who came. Oh, Sami Zayn. I'm like, well, that was a letdown. Like, I purposely got myself up, and I'm like, oh, how can I be disappointed with Sami Zayn? But I was. It's the Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
When everybody thought it was going to be Daniel Bryan, and it was Rey Mysterio, and everybody turned. It's like, I was like, oh, I'm going to hear, because he even tweeted this week, like him coming out at a Rumble with his old theme music. And I'm like, oh, Sheamus is coming back with his music.
Yeah. I thought 30 was going to be Braun, because Braun Strowman's been doing so much media lately and saying that he's been very close a couple months ago to being cleared. So I thought it might have been Braun Strowman. So I don't know.
Yeah, it felt unfortunately flat for Sami Zayn, and it's a shame, because it's not Sami's fault.
Yeah,
it was just the wrong placing.
People thought it could have been The Rock at 30 or something.
I mean, if you were going to do a non-surprise big entrant at number 30, you might as well have put someone like CM Punk in at number 30.
That's what started getting me all. So when he came out at 27, everything I had went out of my mind, because I'm like, all right, Punk's at 27. The most people have ever won the Rumble win at 27. So I'm like, all right, Punk's probably winning the Rumble, because I'm coming out at 27. But then I'm like, who the fuck is 30 then? Because you've got to have somebody for 30, because that should have been Punk.
Yeah.
It's not bad. Like, they didn't do anything. The funny thing is, I'm sitting here scratching my head and going, how can you make this better? But they didn't do anything wrong.
No.
Yeah. It could, once we got to Drew was 29, I'm sitting in my head, I see people saying, Sammy's an option, Braun Strowman's an option, The Rock. I'm like, who the could have been Big E. Big E would have been, again, that feels terrible to say that we were disappointed it was Sami Zayn. Yeah. But like Big E, I think Big E or The Rock could have, granted, it depends, Big E's not cleared obviously then, but those two I think could have been like big pop number 30s in my mind. Like if you're going for a big pop. I'm not mad at it though. Also Sammy going after Drew. Drew was the one who took out Sammy. So I mean that makes sense for Sammy also to come out after Drew. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see where it all leads, but now I got to ask the question: which one was better, the women's or the men's Royal Rumble tonight?
Women's by far and away.
Yeah, I agree.
Man, I feel like both of them kind of had a similar. Oh man, I might say the men's. The women's, the middle, like the like from 10 to 20, it felt a little bit like flat to me. We had those great moments. You had Jordan in there. But like in the middle of the match, it was a little bit, 1 to 10 was great. You had Bianca in there, you had Jordan in there, you had Naomi in there. You had a lot of cool moments. But then 9 Nia was in the 10 to 20 range. That range felt a little bit meh. But then you started getting a Becky Lynch, you got your Liv Morgan, you got your Tiffany Stratton, you got Jade Cargill in the 20s. That started picking up for me in the 20s. So I think overall, I have to say the men's, because it felt like the most, you had stories in like everything. But I did enjoy both.
Yeah. I'd say overall, this is one of the strongest Royal Rumbles there has ever been.
Agree.
Hands down.
I've never had a 4-match pay-per-view that went 4 hours, and I was like, it didn't feel like it took for, like, the men's Rumble felt like it took a long time, but like at the end of the day, these 4 hours didn't feel that long. Like it didn't feel like a 4-hour pay-per-view. And nice of WWE be able to show AEW, look, you don't have to have 6,000 matches to do 4 hours of television. You can do 4 really good matches and have a good amount of TV. Also, can we talk about the fact that Triple H went on this thing last?
We can.
Bayley went on, Cody went on, and then Triple H came out.
I do want to just quickly say, Ella Ahmad has just followed you over on the Twitter side. Bobby mentioning that he thought someone from TNA might show up in the men's Royal Rumble. If
anybody would have been Moose, it wouldn't have been anybody else.
Yeah, and you rock, my friends. Ahmad, thank you. You're the one who rocks. Appreciate you being here. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree. And I don't think that there was any reason to repeat the exact thing they had done. I think the fact that they got Jordynne Grace was a nice touch that was exclusive to the women's match. And I think that was the better way to go overall.
Yeah.
Plus, Jordan is, I don't know for anybody else, but for me, it's always that missing link. Like for her, it's like, that's, if I could pick anyone from anywhere and bring them to WWE, it's pluck her out of that hole that is Impact. I love Impact. I call it a hole. But pluck her out of that hole and get her to the big stage where she belongs. Like I said it in our chat, her having that entrance with that big ramp in a crowd of 40,000 people.
With that gorgeous title.
It's where she's always belonged. She belongs in front of 40K. She belongs on the biggest stage. She belongs being able to have that opportunity. And I know she loves Impact. And I know that she wants to stay there and she wants to be the rock of that women's division there. But my God, Jordan, please, for the love of God, get out of there. Come to WWE. By the way, with the shot I had of the 4 women sitting on the outside of the ring, that's the future of this women's division, with the exception of it's missing Rhea Ripley. That's the future of your women's division in WWE. Jade Cargill, Liv Morgan, Tiffany Stratton, and Bianca Belair. You add Rhea Ripley to the list. That's your 5 that you build this women's division around for the next 15 years.
And who knows what other stars will come about in that time as well, too. There's a lot of great things going on. So.
Now, one question for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, Bayley was like, I'm going to go after Rhea. No, she doesn't. She goes after Io, right? And I think it's Becky. I think it's Becky and Rhea. I mean, yeah, right?
Bayley's going to do a Batista. This whole thing is going to... Triple H is literally retelling him and Batista. Yeah. Like Shawn Michaels is doing in NXT, retelling all his greatest stories. This Bayley story has been literally handpicked by Triple H from the get-go. His first pay-per-view, he brought back Io. He brought back Dakota, specifically to pair them with Bayley. Specifically to do this story. To build a group around Bayley, where Bayley is the star. And then all of a sudden... Bayley's going to start putting over everybody else. And she's going to do it, and she's going to do it. And they're going to tell the story of her losing because she's the one who's Teflon. She cannot be hurt. She can lose for 3 years straight. She can go on a Kurt Hawkins loss run. She's still a star. And the moment she wins a match, she's back in the women's championship contention, no matter how much she loses.
Yeah.
She is the perfect person to put in this Batista storyline, where she's like, I'm going to sign and I would do it the exact same way. Have Adam Pearce out there with one contract, have Nick Aldis out there with another contract, have Damage Control out there shooing her towards Rhea Ripley in the contract, and having her say nope and have her go ahead and sign the contract to face Io.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that it has to go that direction. And I think my next question is, though, do they pull the trigger on Bayley's title when, like, I believe that's the direction it would go, but I could be wrong. Are they willing to? Because one of the titles is going to change. It's either going to be Rhea or it's going to be Io dropping the belt at WrestleMania. I'm more inclined to believe it's going to be Io, personally. Bayley winning over Io.
I vastly disagree. I think this is the point where you put that title back on Becky. Rhea has been the star of the women's division, but not because of what she's done with the women's division, but because what she's doing with Judgment Day. She's part of the A story on Raw as part of Judgment Day. And I feel like you take that title off of her so that she can focus on whatever that story is going to be for the destruction of the Judgment Day or the rebirth of it if she starts kicking people out and bringing new people in. Because the one thing you have to do with Bayley is she's now done everything with the exception of Queen of the Ring. She doesn't need the championship win. The Rumble's what she needed. She needed this to solidify her as, and I said it in our chat, she is the best of the 4 horsewomen. And I love Charlotte Flair, and I think she's the greatest wrestler of the 4 horsewomen. But Bayley is the best because Bayley can do it all. She can be a babyface. She can be a heel. You can have her lose. She can win everything and never feel like she's being shoved down our throats. Not to mention that woman with this at the side of Sasha Banks, Mercedes Moné, kept this company afloat during the pandemic.
Yeah.
When Drew McIntyre was holding that title, I love Drew, but he didn't do a damn thing with that title in the middle of that pandemic. But Sasha, Sasha, Kairi, Asuka, and Mercedes absolutely led them through that pandemic with Roman, obviously, the bloodline, beginning early days of that bloodline story were the best parts of it. But just Bayley is the best. Bayley's number one. But I think you have her lose. I think you continue to have her put over Io Sky. Because Io's that star in that group.
It's also just, though, excluding today, it's been a long time since Bayley's won on a pay-per-view. It's been a long time.
So, yeah. Well, maybe WrestleMania is not the time to start then, too. It could go either way. I guess we'll find out as they begin that build. We're on the way to WrestleMania, as they say.
Yeah.
I'll also probably like the two of you on my way to bed here very soon because it's freaking late at night.
Yeah.
So I figure unless anybody has anything else to add, we might as well just get to wrapping things up here.
I'm just interested to see man, I didn't think Cody winning was going to throw off so many of my things that I was thinking of. I don't know what's going to happen now, but that, that's the beauty of it. You think, then you don't.
I think what really screwed everything up is the Seth injury. That
part of it
they are tiptoeing. I think this was going to be CM Punk was going to win this Rumble.
Yeah.
He was going to main event WrestleMania, and then Rollins gets hurt, and they don't know what to do with Punk because Plan A was Rollins, and if you don't have Punk Rollins at Mania, you have to be very careful with who you have win this Rumble.
Well, they're going to have a month because I guarantee you they're going to have a chamber for number 1 contender next month. They're going to have a month before they have to lock in pretty much if it's going to be Punk and Rollins, or if Rollins is going to have to vacate and then chamber is maybe for the title, or at Mania is for the title.
Remember, you can always sub Damian Priest into any of these Rollins scenarios.
Yeah.
You can sub in Priest.
Yeah. That is true.
If they can plan Gunther all the way through. And if Rollins a week before can't go, Rollins comes out on Raw to go ahead and do a thing with Gunther. They attack Gunther. They attack Rollins, lay him out. Out comes Damian Priest, and you just go with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was even thinking tonight, like, it would have been funny if Damian Priest would have pulled the dirty and attacked Rollins at some point if Rollins just happened to come down to the ring or something. If they would have had him out there and pull the dirty when you least suspect it, kind of thing. Nobody's done it while somebody's injured and not supposed to be in a wrestling match to begin with. So, but needless to say, we're still waiting to see what Senor Money in the Bank does with that briefcase.
There's a plethora of options available.
Oh, I'm
He's
sure
got
there
5
is.
months. He's got 5 months to figure it out.
Ed, you're treading on thin water using that word. You know that.
I don't know what you're talking about. Astrid loves that word.
I know she does. But Ed, I'm going to put your ticker up there, sir. Why don't you tell the people where they can find you?
Great, as I'm about to take a drink. You can find me on the Twitter machine at edfries12584. You can find all of my wonderful content from our local establishment simulcasted on twitch.tv/edfries2002. You can find me this Tuesday night as I go ahead and join the lovely Natural Astrid Bizarro as she's back from her Rumble vacation. This Tuesday night as we go ahead and lean into the last week before Vengeance Day. Then you can catch me this Saturday night or Sunday morning. We're going to record Saturday night. We'll figure out where it goes after that. We're going to record our predictions with Shay from bodyslam.net. I believe it's Shay Sawyer, if I remember her last name correctly. She goes ahead and covers NXT for them. We're greatly excited. We're very excited to have her on the show to go ahead and do that. And then, of course, Sunday night, back one more time with the NXT Vengeance Day post show. And on top of all that, I got an indie show this Friday night, so I'm going to have a busy weekend.
Yeah. You're all over the place, but Ella, why don't you let the people know where they can reach out to you as well, too?
I am not going to be all over the place this next week. That was this last week for me. But yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at It's Ella J. If you go to the link in my bio, all my links to all my projects, podcasts, and writing are all in one convenient place for you.
Perfect. And as for myself, Bobby Munson, there's the ticker down below. That's all the different socials you can reach out to me. Tomorrow, it's Point of View. That's the show where you guys can talk to me anything about the week of pop culture. Well, I either do some gaming. Tomorrow, I might be watching Manchester United. So, we'll have fun with that. Thursday night, boo to you, Ed, too. But Thursday nights with Papa Smokes here for Ring Respect of Radio. And you're also going to be able to catch me next Saturday doing the live watch along for MLW's Super Fight. So make sure you check out all that wonderful stuff out at OLE Podcast, at that ticker down below on all the socials. Check out all the wonderful work we have from many great contributors all over the place. I want to thank Ed and Ella for joining me here tonight. Very late at night, Royal Rumble post show. It's been a blast. Thank you, everybody who tuned in. Take care.